Hello students, now there will be we start our second class on the GI tract after a long day. So this is the pharynx, first class on the oral cavity, very important in anatomy. This is the tongue is complete. Now the pharynx. Whenever you start the pharynx, the special feature of the pharynx is the musculo-membranous tube, and it is the continuation of oral cavity. What? Oral cavity. Where you find the pharynx? You find the pharynx both the GI tract as well the respiratory tract. Both the GI tract as well the respiratory tract. GI tract means it will be the carry of food. Respiratory tract means it carry the air. Respiratory air. So pharynx is a musculo-membranous tube. It is nothing but the continuation of oral cavity and leads to the esophagus. Okay, and it both carry the GI tract, both carry the food as well as the air. So this is the part of the first, the pharynx, the introduction, the basic introduction of the pharynx. Now there will be the, if I continue the pharynx, pharynx is the three parts, has the three parts. What are the three parts of pharynx? The three parts of pharynx are, this is the nasopharynx, oropharynx and laryngopharynx The term itself says that what are the location of this part of the pharynx actually. Naso means nasal cavity. So part of the pharynx within the nasal cavity is called the nasopharynx. Oropharynx. Oro means oral cavity. So part of the pharynx within the oral cavity is called the oropharynx. Laryngo means larynx. The part of the pharynx within the larynx is called the laryngopharynx. Now each and every part of pharynx has some certain extension, has their certain lateral border features and some certain structures. These are the, now first the nasopharynx. The nasopharynx, if you see nasopharynx, the roof of the nasopharynx is formed by the base of the skull. The base of the skull. It is made up by the basi occiput, the basilar part of the occipital bone, and the sphenoid bone. Okay, so it is the first extension above, roof or above. You may also say that above. Okay, below, it is the continuous as the oropharynx. So this is called the nasopharyngeal isthmus. Isthmus means this is a constricted part, is called the isthmus. Okay, now oral cavity, nasopharyngeal isthmus. What is the level of this nasopharyngeal isthmus? Is the soft palate. Okay, this is the soft palate. Soft palate to what? Up to the larynx. Where starts the larynx? Larynx is the epiglottis, up to the epiglottis. Where does this laryngopharynx? This is the first the epiglottis, and up to it is a continuous as the two pathway, one for the larynx for the air and for the food, the GI tract continue as the your esophagus. Okay, so this is the first the extension of the each and every part of pharynx. So pharynx has the extension from the base of the skull up to the continuous as the esophagus. Okay, now where does the posterior side means what is the level of the vertebral column? So this is the posterior side. It is located C1. It is located, some of the author also says C1 plus C2 plus C3 and anterior part of C3 also. And here it is the C3 posterior part, C4, C5 and up to the C6. Forward the C6, there will be the esophagus. So this is the up to the your more or less the boundary of the each and every part of the pharynx. Now we will move towards the structure of the important structure of the pharynx. you must have to know the important structure, especially in case of the nasopharynx. Okay, the nasopharynx, the important structure of the nasopharynx, the list you must have to know first. These are the tubal tonsil, tubal elevation. Third, there is a salpingopharyngeal fold, salpingopalatine fold. There is the hypophysis, ectopic hypophysis. It is a pathological condition. It is the pathological condition. There is a pharyngeal bursa, and there will be the pharyngeal tonsil. There is a pharyngeal, nasopharyngeal tonsil. Okay, so these are the some of the structure you will be find in the nasopharynx. First, the tonsil. Tonsil is the aggregated lymphoid tissue. It's called the tonsil. Okay, so this is the aggregated lymphoid tissue. Okay, I later on some of the tonsil part also. Now tubal elevation. Okay, now this tubal elevation is due to this tubal tonsil. If the tonsil is present, suppose this is a tonsil, so there will be an elevation for this tonsil. Okay, now salpingopharyngeus and the salpingopalatine. Later on we will know that what is the salpingopharyngeus and salpingopalatine. These are the all muscles actually. Hypophysis, you must have to know the hypophysis physiology. Hypophysis is the master gland located in the sella turcica. But now here the hypophysis is also present. It is a ectopic hypophysis and it is a pathological condition. Now pharyngeal bursa is the fluid filled spaces. Okay. Now in case of the woman, after the menopause, there will be the bursa, and there will be the accumulation of fluid in the bursa is very common. It's called the bursitis, and due to this there is a heavy pain in the knee joint. Okay, because the knee joint is the maximum area where the maximum number of the bursas are present. Okay, so these are the some of the structures of the pharynx. Now each and every part of pharynx has the three communications. The communication of each and every part of pharynx is very, very important. Now nasopharynx. Now anterior border of the pharynx is the not the knot is continuous actually. Now suppose this is the my nasal cavity. So anterior the nasal cavity has an aperture. So this is the nasal aperture. So here it is a deficient. So first the nasal cavity, nasopharynx has the nasal aperture. This is the communication, first communication. Second communication, nasopharynx communicate with that continuous with the oropharynx. So this is the nasopharyngeal isthmus. Nasopharyngeal isthmus. And third, very important, it is connected with the middle ear. That's why whenever the any eye drop or ear drop, the eye drop is not, the ear drop will be the port. You will be also feel some of the feeling the ear drop is in your throat because of this connection. This is the what? This is the eustachian tube. The another name of the eustachian tube is the pharyngotympanic tube. Okay, and the oral cavity. Oral cavity also has the three communication. It's very easy to remember. Anteriorly the oral aperture, the mouth. Above it is the continuous with the nasopharyngeal isthmus, means it is the nasopharynx, and below it is the continuous with the laryngopharynx. Now this laryngopharynx has again the three communication, continuous with the oropharynx, and it is the esophagus, and it is also continuous with the larynx. Okay, so here we will know what are the structures of the nasopharynx and what are the three communication. Total 9 communications are present in the every pharynx. Okay, this is very important, and you must have to know what are the clinical aspect. Very important is the adenoid. Adenoid is the, in case of the children, the nasopharyngeal tonsil. This nasopharyngeal tonsil is maybe the enlarged, then it is called the adenoid. Second, I mentioned hypophysis. So hypophysis again a clinical aspect. ectopic hypophysis. Ectopic hypophysis. Okay, this is the most and common of the pharyngeal these structures, oropharynx, nasopharynx, laryngopharynx are the clinical aspect. Most important may have question has come maybe the nasopharynx. Okay, because it is structure of nasopharynx, communication, what are the extension, what is the clinical anatomy, all of this is more than sufficient. Okay, now the second topic is muscle of the pharynx. There are two group of muscle in the pharynx. These are the constrictor muscle and the longitudinal muscle. Constrictor muscles are three: superior constrictor, middle constrictor, and inferior constrictor. Longitudinal muscles are three. These are the stylopharyngeus, glossopharyngeus, and the salpingopharyngeus. Again, I mention, must have to know 4 points each and every muscles. Okay, what are the 4 points? Origin, insertion, nerve, and action. So make the column, draw the diagram, complete your answer now. Name, origin, insertion, nerve, action. Okay. So first, there will be the superior constrictor. Superior constrictor is originated from the medial pterygoid process of the sphenoid bone, and this other name is pterygoid hamulus and pterygomandibular raphe, and the mylohyoid line of the mandible. Okay, what is the insertion? Pharyngeal aponeurosis. What is the nerve? Vagus nerve, cranial nerve, and these vagus nerve coming via the pharyngeal plexus formation. What? Pharyngeal plexus, via the pharyngeal plexus. What is the function? Superior constrictor. Name suggests you constriction of the pharynx during the your movement of the your food particles. Middle constrictor, greater cornu of hyoid, and secondly, it is the origin of stylohyoid ligament. Pharyngeal aponeurosis, nerve, vagus nerve, via the pharyngeal plexus, and constriction. Same. And inferior constrictor. Inferior constrictor, it is from the thyroid cartilage, cricothyroid ligament, and the cricoid cartilage. Okay, pharyngeal aponeurosis, nerve supply by the vagus nerve, action is the constriction through the pharyngeal plexus. Next, stylopharyngeus. Stylopharyngeus from the origin from the medial surface of the styloid process. Of temporal bone, and the insertion from the constrictor muscle. Nerve supply by the vagus nerve to the pharyngeal plexus. What is the action? Action is the mainly, it helps in the movement of the pharynx, upward movement of pharynx. Next, stylopharyngeus. Next, there will be the salpingopharyngeus. Salpingopharyngeus. It is the laryngeal cartilages. Laryngeal cartilages. Where this again will be the move towards the constrictor muscle, blend with the constrictor muscle, and it is the supplied by the vagus nerve, and it is also will be the causes. There is a movement of the pharynx, and last there will be the stylopharyngeus, salpingopharyngeus, and there will be the glossopharyngeus. Glossopharyngeus, very interestingly, it is the supplied by the this is the stylopharyngeus. Stylopharyngeus is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve because it is the third branchial arch. And there will be the palatopharyngeus. It is from the palatine aponeurosis towards the constrictor muscle, and it is the vagus nerve by the pharyngeal plexus formation and the movement. So stylopharyngeus is very important actually. The stylopharyngeus is the third branchial arches nerve, and it is supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve, ninth cranial nerve. Okay, and this ninth cranial nerve actually does not form the pharyngeal plexus. I come where the pharyngeal plexus, how does it form and where does its location and where it is supply actually. So this is the name the chart actually very important. Stylopharyngeus is the again and again mention is the one of the exception. Okay. So because all are the satisfied the vagus nerve, while it is the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay. I again mention diagram is must. Okay. So what is the diagram? First, suppose this is the pharyngeal aponeurosis. Okay. This is suppose the your medial pterygoid process. Actually, this is the hamulus shaped medial pterygoid process. Pterygomandibular raphe. And the mylohyoid line. Okay, and this is suppose the lesser cornu of hyoid, and this is the actually the greater cornu of hyoid. This is the thyroid, cricothyroid ligament, cricothyroid membrane, and the cricoid. Okay. So first the superior constrictor. This is the superior constrictor. Middle constrictor. Inferior constrictor. So what is the origin? This is side is the origin side. Okay, and this is the insertion side. Now you suppose that there is a gap. There is again a gap. Some of the structures are passes through these gaps. Okay, so must have to know what are the structures or passes through these gaps are. Suppose there will be, this is the superior constrictor. So above the superior constrictor there is the levator palatini muscle. Levator palatini muscle. And there is the sinus of Morgagni. Here is very interesting. Sinus of Morgagni. You find the sinus of Morgagni actually 3 times. Okay. Sinus of Morgagni you will be the find in case of the uterine tube. There is the opening of the uterine tube, sinus of Morgagni. And eustachian tube, I again mentioned earlier, the eustachian tube. This is the passes through here, and this is also the sinus of Morgagni. These two are physiological sinus of Morgagni. Here is another pathological sinus of Morgagni. This is known as the diaphragmatic hernia. Sometimes the stomach will be the ascending upward towards the esophageal opening of the diaphragm, and stomach will open into your thorax part. So there will be the leads to the pain in the thorax and the near the diaphragmatic part, and this is called the diaphragmatic hernia. and this opening is called the sinus of Morgagni. So the sinus of Morgagni, and there is the Eustachian tube and levator palatini and the ascending palatine artery. Now, between the superior constrictor and the middle constrictor, there will be actually the styloid process. Towards the styloid process, this is the stylohyoid ligament. Okay, this is the stylohyoid ligament, and this is the stylopharyngeus muscle. This is the stylopharyngeus muscle. This is the stylopharyngeus muscle. Now, I don't have any red color now. So, stylopharyngeus muscle. And this stylopharyngeus muscle supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve, this 9th cranial nerve. In between the middle constrictor and inferior constrictor, there will be a very important structure. This is known as the Killian's dehiscence. Killian's dehiscence. Killian's dehiscence. What is the clinical applied aspect in this Killian's dehiscence? Actually, the fish bone, whenever the stuck in your mouth or whenever actually it is stuck in this Killian's dehiscence. Okay, so the doctor should have what? Doctor will be the operate out, or sometimes or something it will be the pull it out. Okay, from the Killian's dehiscence actually by the enlarging the increase the gap in between middle constrictor and inferior constrictor, and the fish bone will be the come out. Okay, so this is the Killian's dehiscence. Through this Killian's dehiscence, there will be the passes the one artery, one nerve. This is the superior laryngeal. This is the superior laryngeal artery and the external laryngeal nerve. And below the inferior constrictor, there will be the passes the inferior laryngeal artery, and there will be the internal laryngeal nerve. Okay, so these are the structure. Again, I mentioned ascending palatine, levator palatini, Eustachian tube are passes above the superior constrictor. Now, this is the glossopharyngeal nerve, suppose, and this is the stylopharyngeus, and then there is a superior laryngeal artery, external laryngeal nerve in between middle constrictor, inferior constrictor, inferior laryngeal artery, and there is an internal laryngeal nerve are passed below the inferior constrictor. Very important clinical anatomy we have used in case of the Killian's dehiscence. Okay, so this is the diagram, and the structures are passes through the each and every constrictor muscles of the pharynx. Very important to know, and these are 4 marks, maybe also come as a short note. Now, pharyngeal plexus. In muscles, I mentioned the vagus nerve passes the muscles except the glossopharyngeus muscle, stylopharyngeus muscle. Okay, stylopharyngeus muscle supplied by the glossopharyngeal nerve. So all the muscle except the stylopharyngeus are supplied by the pharyngeal plexus as vagus nerve. Okay, what is this pharyngeal plexus actually? This pharyngeal plexus is the motor plexus. Okay, and it is the formed by the 10th cranial nerve plus 11th cranial nerve and the 12th cranial nerve. 10 and 12 are simultaneously processed, and it will be also made up by the some of the fiber of the C1. Okay, the spinal nerves also will form it. Okay, so this is the pharyngeal plexus formation, and where it is located? It just located behind the middle constrictor, behind the middle constrictor. Okay, where the area of supply? It is supplied by the palatoglossus. All the muscles of the pharynx except stylopharyngeus and the larynx. So this is the pharyngeal plexus. These 4 points. Okay. Now another again a very important 2 marks short note or 4 marks is the Vogel's ring. but it is a very important question. Waldear's ring. This Waldear's ring, actually it is the hexagonal ring. Okay, it is the hexagonal ring. Not should be the hexagonal. This is the Waldear's ring. This ring actually formed by the lymphoid tissue tonsil, aggregated lymphoid tissue, tonsillar ring. Now, what is the function of tonsil? Tonsil is the first line of defense in our body. What? First line of defense. Whenever any opening in our mouth, the body. Okay. Suppose the oral cavity. This is the opening. You will be the inhale the air. So in the air, there is some of the germs are also present. So damages these germs in the tongue. There is a tonsil, lingual tonsil. Okay. So what is this? Lingual tonsil. Now here, this is the what tonsil? This is the palatine tonsil. This is the palatine tonsil. Here, this is and this. These are the tubal tonsil. Where does this tube? I mentioned the tubal opening, the tubal elevation. It is nothing but due to this eustachian tube, because it is another opening. So there will be again a tonsil, again a gatekeeper. Okay. So this is the tubal tonsil, and this is the nasopharyngeal tonsil. These two are nasopharyngeal tonsil. So these Waldear's ring are made up by the nasopharyngeal tonsil, tubal tonsil, palatine tonsil, lingual tonsil. Okay. Now these tonsil are very important at the tonsillitis. The patients are very pain. You cannot inhale the air properly. So this is the very important is tonsillitis. And sometimes the removal of tonsil. Suppose I remove the palatine tonsil. Okay. This is called the tonsillectomy. So this is a very important short note may also come Waldear's ring. So it is the nothing but the tonsillar ring made up by these four types of tonsil. The clinical applied aspect is the tonsillitis. Okay. So I think up to this the pharynx is sufficient. Not more than that will be required in our syllabus. Okay. So this time, thank you for the watching, and again join with us.